So we are back, Q family that I love so much, and we are talking about chronic pain because most of you right now, I bet you, you're here listening to this and you're going, oh yeah, that's me, chronic pain. I feel it in my back, or I feel it in my hips, or my neck really hurts. Now, chronic pain is defined as pain that is happening for 3 months consecutively, and it could be up and down kind of pain. But it's not the kind of pain where you cut your finger, it hurts, and then it's better. So we're talking about more chronic pain, that kind that doesn't leave. But we were talking about CBD, and I'm trying to debunk some of the issues that people have with CBD, and most of it is lack of education to understanding what the product is about. I will tell you that I am the first person that lacked education. I thought to myself before I bought the health food store, the first thing I'm going to get rid of is the CBD. I don't want anybody buying the CBD. But I knew nothing about it until I got in the store. I learned and educated myself about how it supports our bodies. I've taken CBD myself. CBD is not marijuana, it is not psychoactive, and it is not addictive. I've taken it for pain in my body. I've taken it to calm my body. I will tell you this about CBD. So we have a product in the store that's a CBD calm. Now, so they craft them different ways. Sometimes they craft them for sleep, and they'll put, some companies will put melatonin. Now, I only carry 4 different companies because I have relationships with those companies. Don't be buying your CBD just from anybody, anywhere at the flea market or wherever you're buying it, unless you know that person is reputable, you know where they got it from, you're reading the labels. This is where any product gets the bad rap, because there's always somebody out there that's going to put together some kind of ridiculous knockoff that does nothing and hurts people. So you want to make sure that you buy from a reputable company. And some of the products that we have in the store are labeled calm. Most of that doesn't mean you're going to, sit on a chair and put your feet up and go to sleep. It just means that it's going to help the brain settle down so that your experience in your body is different and you don't feel the pain and the agitation. So we have a product in this store that's a CBD product, and it's calm. And I will tell you how it works. And this is personal experience. So my husband could not get in an MRI, and he just can't. And I bet many of you out there experience that same thing. You just can't get in an MRI. So he had taken, I said, you know what, why don't you try this calm CBD? So he took a couple of calm CBDs and was able to easily get in the MRI, had no problem, thought it was a fine experience, didn't get agitated or upset about it, and he was able to do it. That's because the brain had a different focus of that experience that he had. And it wasn't remembering past experiences where he, couldn't get in the MRI and it was painful, right? So remember, we experience things because the brain is continually remembering the experiences that we had. So CBD gets a bad rap, but I've watched customers. I had a customer come in the store. Her husband came in the store. She sat on the golf cart because she had miserable arthritis that was crippling, and she could not get out of the golf cart to come in the store. I'm talking from experience. So he came in. He's at his last thought. He's been to doctors. He's been everywhere. And he came in for some CBD for her. She started the CBD. The next few weeks, she walked in the store. She walked in the store to thank us. We were shocked that this was even happening, that it was even her. But it changes people's lives. And I have people that are very committed to that experience because it changes their lives. So what happens when something good comes along and changes people's lives, and people feel good, and people could get out of golf carts, and people could get in MRIs, and people are doing great things without prescription drugs? What happens, do you think, Q family, then, as I get a little bit triggered here? This is what happens. The Florida state legislation just passed a law banning most existing CBD products in Florida. Can you believe it? They passed a law to ban CBD. Why, you're asking? I don't know. So this is going to include gummies and tinctures and oils that are already on the market. And the ban affects cannabinoids like Delta 8, Delta 9, and some other THC type products. Most of these products will become illegal in Florida. Hear me, Q family. They want to ban CBD. But you could help. This is what we need to do. We have gotten to a place that is at the last line. The legislature has passed this thing. So we want to veto SB 1698. We need to get on the phone to Governor Ron and tell him to veto SB 1698. Call him now and tell him this has got to stop. Here's his phone number, 850-717-9337. You cannot take CBD out of the place. There are people that were hurting. People won't be able to sleep. They have no idea how this is going to affect the older adult community because of lack of knowledge. What the Bible says something of lack of knowledge, right? Lack of knowledge. James, help me out there. What's that Bible verse with lack of knowledge? I can't.
Always wait for me to put food in my mouth.
I didn't even notice the food. What is it today, James? Is it the pot pie? Is it?
It's a half a sub from Domino's.
Domino's today. Okay, that must be organic. The organic.
Yeah, it's got peppers and pickles and
yeah,
it's an Italian.
Ah, yes. So, yeah, I'm an Italian, so I guess it's okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
So I forget now because I'm so triggered by this whole thing. Now you could also write a letter. You know, here's something interesting, Q family. You may not know, but when somebody calls, now I don't remember the exact number, but when somebody calls the governor, they equate it to 1,000 people believing it's the same, has the same issue. So one phone call is like 1,000 people calling. If we get 1,000 people to call, we will make an incredible impact. So call Governor Ron today at 850-717-9337 and tell him we want to veto SB 1698. And you know what? This is not just about CBD. Q family, look at the bigger picture. Some of you are like, I don't know. I don't know anything about CBD, so I don't want it vetoed. Oh, really? Wait until they veto, wait until they take away everything else from you. Okay? So let's start with CBD to remove pain, and then it'll be like onto arnica or onto something else. They've already erased the eye drops off the shelf. I'm sure some of you know that the FDA came along and was like, no more eye drops for anyone. No more eye drops. We take all eye drops off the shelf because someone had a bad experience with one eye drop. One person, one eye drop. All the eye drops left the shelves of the United States. Now you know what the eye drop people have to do? They have to go through different types of FDA testing so that the eye drop gets approved from the FDA and can come back on your shelf, right? Okay, that sounds good. Except there's only 3 companies in the United States that test your eye drops. And those 3 companies are so incredibly backed up because everybody's eye drops are off the shelf that now nobody has eye drops. So eyes are dry and eyes are hurting and people are hurting because they can't get eye drops over the counter anymore. So this is what starts to happen and you need to be concerned about it. So call Governor Ron, and he says he's a people's governor. If he's a people's governor, then he'll hear the people. And I'm sure Governor Ron is listening right now to the Q. And he should hear that we are crying out to him saying, veto SB 1698. I love that word veto. It always reminds me of like veto, you know, like your good Goomba Italian veto. He's going to come and he's going to go up and he's going to be like, no, SB 698. I tell you, I veto and I say no, SB 1698. So this kind of stuff, you know, the legislator just has to stop. It just has to stop. Not only are people going to be in pain and up all night and it's going to affect the older adult community, we are going to put people out of jobs all throughout the state. We are talking $1 billion, you know, I don't know the whole number, but this industry is huge and it puts people out of jobs. So here, the law will cost the free state of Florida $6.9 billion in annual revenue. Okay, so now Florida loses $6.9 billion in annual revenue. Who's going to make that up, Q family? Looks like you and I are. And $343 million in unemployment benefits. So look at that. Guess who's going to pay for that, Q family? Me and you. And possible lawsuits costing over $105 million. Do we really need this? Do we really need this? I mean, and this is just, I am triggered right now, Q family. I'm sure you could tell this is really on my heart. Not just because it's CBD, not just because it affects me, but it affects the people that are taking it more than it affects me. I don't, you know, you need to look at the longer range picture in things like this. Look at the longer range picture of what this means. So one phone call is 1,000 people. Be 1,000 people and let's march in and stop this. Governor Ron at 850-717-9337 so that we could stop other things. And this is how we do it. We do it civilly. We do it quietly. We do it with a phone call. We do it with a letter to our governor. We do it calmly. We do it, you know, like for me, I'm going to have to take a few calm before I actually make the phone call because I am really upset that these things come off the shelf, that have been on the shelf, that have been helping people for whatever the people want it, and the people weren't complaining about it. Then why are they taking it away from us? Are they going to take away kickball? I mean, really? Are they going to decide now that kickball is not good for school children? Are they going to take away bowling? Because that should be governed by the federal government. What are they going to, what is next? Where does it stop? We will talk about it after the break. I love you, Q family.